Hey there, it's Tom Corson-Knowles, #1 best-selling author of the Kindle Publishing Bible series and founder of TCK Publishing. I've got a question for you. Why is it today that traditional publishers take 85 to 90% of the royalties for every book they sell, while the author's only left with a measly 10 or 15% if they're lucky? It's because in the past, the cost structure of the publishing industry was totally different. So if you wanted to publish and distribute books 50, 100 years ago, it was incredibly expensive to do all the printing, all the shipping, all the warehousing, all the marketing, and dealing with returns. And it was just a whole different business model back then. So today, that's all changed. With ebooks and print-on-demand publishing, the cost structure of the industry is totally different. So now, with much, much less investment, you can get a much, much higher return or sales potential. Today, in 2015, most self-published authors earn the majority of their income from ebook sales. In my experience working with hundreds of self-published authors all across the world and publishing thousands of ebooks, I found that most authors sell 80% or more of their books in the ebook version, not paperback or audiobook. Obviously varies from market to market. Some markets sell much more heavily towards paperback and audiobooks. Some markets lean much more towards ebooks. And of course, every author has their own individual strategies and systems, and of course, results will vary from author to author. But if you look at just the hard numbers, the raw data, back in 2013, ebook sales had just hit $4 billion in the United States in 2013. And that same year, physical book sales in the trade market was just about $10 billion in the United States. Now, fast forward, by the end of 2016, PricewaterhouseCoopers predicts ebook sales will surpass $10 billion, and physical book sales will stay stagnant around $10 billion, which means that by the end of next year, consumers in the United States will be spending more money on ebooks than they do on physical books. Now, today, customers are already buying, 1.5 to 2 ebooks for every physical book they buy. But because the average price for ebooks is lower, they're not actually spending more money on ebooks yet. But that's about to change really soon. So when you look at the industry as a whole in the United States and globally as well, ebook sales are where all the growth is. In fact, there's going to be a $10 billion decrease in physical book sales around the globe over the next 10 years. So that's bad news for the traditional publishing industry, but it's really good news for anyone who's publishing ebooks, and especially self-published authors, because that $10 billion in decrease in physical book sales will be replaced by at least $10 billion in ebook sales around the world. So to sum it up, all the growth right now in the publishing industry pretty much around the world is in ebooks as well as digital audiobooks. And the cost to produce books today is far, far less than it's ever been before. This is all amazing news for self-published authors. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can change the game, how you can take control of your career, and how you can earn 70% royalties on Amazon with every book you sell for free. Now, even if you haven't finished your book yet, I really want you to follow along this video anyways, because you're going to learn the entire process that it takes to self-publish your book on Amazon Kindle. It doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of work or energy, as long as you know what you're doing. Now, it took me several years to figure it out, just because I didn't know that it was even available. I didn't even know it was possible, right? So in this video, even if you've never written a book before, I want you to watch it all the way through, because I'm going to show you how simple and easy it is, and it's going to give you that extra motivation, because as soon as you see how simple it is to get your book published and out there and have customers all over the world reading it, it's going to motivate you. It's going to light that fire under your butt to get you motivated to continue writing your book, to get it done, to get it out there in the world, and to make a difference with your story and with your message. Okay, I'm also going to share with you some really important ideas and strategies you need to know about to help you sell more books. But these are things you have to do before your book is published. So if you haven't published a book yet, you're really in the perfect position right now, because you're going to learn how to do it all right, correctly, and properly to set yourself up for success in the future before you even publish your book. Okay, I'm going to share with you a lot of awesome information in this video really quickly. So what you need to do, make sure you have watched video number 1 at ebookpublishingschool.com, where I showed you how to format your ebook for Kindle. Because if it's not formatted, you won't be able to upload the final file and publish it on Amazon. All right, now this is a tutorial video, so I'm going to walk you through the entire process step by step. So the best thing you can do is actually go with me step by step through the process and follow along, so that you can learn and do as you're learning and watching this video. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do first is open up your web browser on your computer and go to kdp.amazon.com. Now you want to make sure you do this in a new tab or a different browser so you can continue to watch and listen to this video as I walk you through the process. Okay, so kdp.amazon.com is the Kindle direct publishing website. Now this is where every self-published author who wants to publish on Amazon Kindle will have to come to self-publish your book. Now when you're on this website, go ahead up to the top and click sign in right there. Once you click that, you can sign in with any existing Amazon account. And if you do not have an Amazon account yet, you're going to have to click this button right here. It says, I am a new customer. And then you have to sign up for a new Amazon account with an email address. Okay, but if you're a returning customer and already have an Amazon account, all you have to do is type in your email and password and go ahead and log in. Okay, once you've logged into your KDP account, you will come to your dashboard. Now this is my dashboard, and you can see there's already a lot of books in here. Obviously I've published over 20 books so far, so that's why you're seeing some books in there already. But when you're a brand new author and if you're just starting up a new account, it'll be empty. You won't see any books down here at the bottom. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go up here at the very top and click account. So it'll be your name and then account up here. Okay, now you will not be able to publish any books on Amazon until you have completely filled out all of your account information, including your address, state, city, where you live, as well as your tax information. You'll have to update that information here as well. And then down here at the bottom, you'll also have to tell Amazon how you would like to get paid in royalties. So most authors prefer a bank account, so you can actually add your bank account. You'll need your bank account information, the name of your bank. It's pretty simple. And then you'll be able to choose how you want to get paid for each different Amazon marketplace. So there's already about a dozen Amazon marketplaces, and they're adding more and more each year. So for example, there's the Amazon.com store for US customers. That also includes India customers right now. There's the Amazon.co.uk store for UK customers, Amazon.de for Germany, and so forth. So anyways, you'll have to fill out all this information before you can go ahead and publish your book. But once you've done that, you are all ready to go, and all you have to do next is click Bookshelf right at the top left. Okay, once you're back at the bookshelf, you're going to click Add New Title right here in the top left. Okay, now this is the page where you're actually going to upload your book and fill out all the information to upload your book to Kindle. So the first decision you need to make is whether or not you want to enroll your book in KDP Select. You do that by clicking the check mark box right here. So KDP Select is a 90-day exclusive program where you pledge to exclusively publish your book only on Amazon.com, your ebook only on Amazon.com. So this does not count for paperbacks or audiobooks. You can publish those anywhere you want. But for the ebook version of your book, if you are in KDP Select for the next 90 days, you can only publish your ebook on Amazon.com. It means you can't publish on Nook or iBooks or Smashwords. You can't even sell the ebook on your own website either. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, there's a couple of huge benefits to being in KDP Select. I don't have enough time in this video to go through all of them. I've got complete training videos on all that in Ultimate Author Academy. But basically, there's a couple of reasons why I highly recommend being in KDP Select, because there are some really cool benefits. So first of all, any customer with Amazon Prime can borrow your book for free. And they can borrow one book a month for free, but they can only borrow books in KDP Select. So if your book is in KDP Select, you can have this huge group of Amazon customers who can basically borrow and read your book for free, and Amazon will actually pay you every time a customer does that. Now this tends to be a actually large portion of most self-published authors' sales on Amazon who are in KDP Select. Anywhere from 10 to 50% of their sales can actually come from KDP Select and from borrows, also from Kindle Unlimited, which is a brand new Amazon program, but that's only available to authors who are in KDP Select. So basically what's happening is customers don't have to pay to read your books, but Amazon's going to pay you anyways as if they had actually bought your book. And those payments used to be about $2 a copy, over $2 a copy. Recently they've fallen to about $1.30, $1.40 a copy, but it's still a significant amount of income, and those are totally new sales that you probably would not have gotten otherwise. So I think KDP Select is an awesome program. When you look at the ebook market share for the major ebook distributors, Amazon owns at least 60% of the US ebook market, and over 78% of the UK ebook market. So they actually dominate the ebook market. And for self-published authors, those percentages tend to be much, much higher. So for self-published authors, you'd be lucky if 20% of your sales came from any channel outside of Amazon for your ebooks. So Amazon just really dominates the ebook market, and the vast majority of your income will come from Amazon Kindle for your ebooks. And in fact, almost all of my books now are enrolled in KDP Select, and I do not publish on the other platforms like Smashwords and Nook and Kobo because I've tested it many, many, many times, and in every single case, the ebooks that are exclusively in KDP Select earn more money, sell more, and do better and reach more customers than ebooks on all the platforms combined. So, there's a lot more that goes into this conversation, but I don't have time for that now. But the bottom line is, if you're brand new, you don't know what to do, you don't have an audience yet, I would highly recommend enrolling your book in KDP Select and just clicking that box right there. Okay, next step, what you're gonna need to do to publish your book is enter your book name and your subtitle if you have one. So here you're just gonna have book title and then subtitle. Next, you need to select whether your book is in a series or not. So if you're writing a trilogy or a nonfiction series, this is where you would put your series name. So let's say this is the Cool Trilogy, and this is the first volume, right? So for the first book, you put 1, second book 2, third book 3, and so on in the volume box right here. Next, you would put the edition number. So if there's the first edition of your book, just put 1 or leave it blank. If it's the second edition of your book, you put 2 and so forth. Next, you put the publisher. I do recommend you put the publisher here. Even if you're a self-published author, you might not even have a company yet, but you can at least have a name for your publishing company or publishing business. It's really up to you. If not, you can leave this blank, but I would recommend putting the name of your publishing company here if you have one. Okay, next is your book description, and this is one of the absolutely most important parts of uploading your book on Amazon and of actually marketing your books that a lot of authors and self-published authors, even traditionally published authors and traditional publishers, don't really understand the power a lot of times of the book description. So Amazon gives you, you'll notice a little box right here, it says 4,000 characters left. You get 4,000 characters to write here in your book description, and they'll actually count down. So every time you write, they'll tell you how many characters you have left. And you want to use as many of those 4,000 characters as you possibly can in your book descriptions, and here's why. Have you ever bought a product, let's say on Amazon.com or another product online, or been shopping for a product online, and then you went to look at the description and found no helpful information there that helped you decide whether or not that was the right product for you? If that happens, what do? You click away, you go find another product because there just wasn't enough information there for you to make an informed decision, right? A great example of this, I was shopping for light bulbs a couple months ago on Amazon, and I was looking at this light bulb and I was trying to figure out, okay, what was the wattage and what was the size? Because I needed a certain wattage and a certain size for a certain light fixture in my house, and I could not find it. There was not anywhere on the page did the light bulb actually tell you how many watts it was or what size it was, right? And so of course I didn't buy it because it wasn't enough information for me to make a decision. Same thing happens every single day for books, right? Whether you're a fiction author, nonfiction author, doesn't matter. You need to give your readers and potential readers detailed information about what's in your book and whether or not it's for them, right? So what I would write in the book description for a nonfiction author is, here's what's in the book, here's what we're going to cover, here are the problems we're going to help you solve, here are the issues we're going to help you solve, and so on and so forth. And the more detailed you make that description, the more customers you are going to get. Now, one very important point about descriptions as well, make sure they are edited. Make sure you edit them very well. You don't want any typos in here, no mistakes, no grammatical errors if you can help it, because if customer sees, a typo in the first line of your book description, the chance of them buying your book is very, very low, right? They're going to say, well, this person's not professional, they don't know what they're doing. So make sure you do proofread your description. Now, one good thing to keep into account and take into mind here is that you can actually come back and change any of this information anytime you want after your book is published or before your book is published once you save this. So don't fret too much about getting it perfect or getting it right the first time. For your very first book, you can always come back and change it anytime you want, but you want to do the best job possible, and you want to absolutely fill out your book description as much as possible. So for a fiction author, generally in the book description, you don't want too much description. What you want more is actually to involve the reader into the story. So, bring them right into the story. Tell them what's going on, what's at stake, who's the main character, what's their goal, what's the problem, what's the obstacle, who's the villain, what's going on in the story. Bring them into the story. Make it actual, make it real, make it live. And then for more information for nonfiction or for fiction authors, you can either include a synopsis from your book. You can also do that for a nonfiction author as well. You can include an excerpt from your book. You can include a section called About the Author, and you can have your bio there or more information about you, maybe why you wrote the book, any information like that, just to help the reader find out more about you, who you are, why you wrote the book, and why it might be a good book for them. Okay, so spend as much time as you need to write a really good book description. Don't just do this last minute. Don't just do it in 2 seconds and not put enough attention and description into this. You really want to make it as powerful as possible because it's one of the biggest factors that influences whether or not readers will buy your book. Okay, once you've got your book description done and written in here, you're going to need to click Add Contributors right here to add any contributors to your book. So of course, if you are the author, you would add your author name here, and then select the title, so that would be the author. You can also add more people, so you can add editors, you can add anyone who's written a foreword for the book, any illustrators for the book, anyone who wrote an introduction to the book, narrators, photographers, preface, translators. You can add all that as well here if you'd like to. Once you've added all the contributors, just go ahead and hit save, and you'll see there the list of contributors for the book. Next, you select the language of your book. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Next, you can have the ISBN here. You do not need an ISBN to publish an ebook. You absolutely do not need one. And in fact, I would recommend for most self-published authors, do not include an ISBN for your book, because what happens if you include an ISBN for your book, it will be tracked by the traditional publishing industry. So if you're a self-published author right now and you have hopes one day of doing a traditional book deal, they will actually be able to come back and look at your book sales for your ebook because it's being tracked by the ISBN. And if your sales are less than 5,000, they will say, hey, look, this author is not a big deal. They're too small. They're not selling enough to be worth our time to work with them. And that sales record, even though it was a sales record when you were self-published, even though it was your first book, doesn't matter. That will, quote unquote, stain your career in the traditional publishing world indefinitely. So do not list an ISBN unless you know you can sell more than 5,000 books and you want to be traditionally published. Now, if you're a self-published author and want to be self-published for life and have no interest in the traditional publishing industry at all, it doesn't really matter. You do not need an ISBN. Okay, next step, you're going to have to verify your publishing rights. So there's two options here. You can say, hey, this is a public domain work, or this is not a public domain work, and you hold the necessary publishing rights. Pretty self-explanatory. You can't really publish domain works anymore on Amazon, Kindle. It's pretty much all been done before. So I'm assuming you've actually an author written an original book, and so you would go ahead and click this is not a public domain work, and you hold the necessary publishing rights. Next, you're going to select your categories to target your book to customers. So Amazon actually lets you choose two specific categories to list your ebook in. And so these categories are actually Amazon's version of bestseller lists. So if you've ever heard of someone saying #1 bestselling author on Amazon, that's these categories that you become #1 bestseller in. So these categories rank the top 100 books in each category. And it's very, very important you choose good categories to rank your book in, because if you choose the wrong categories that don't apply to your book, or if you choose categories that are too competitive and you don't even rank in those categories, it's basically doing nothing for your sales. So I actually created an entire video training program called Bestseller Ranking Pro. You can check it out at bestsellerrankingpro.com. And in that course, I just walked you through the entire process of selecting the right categories for each book. I also have the entire list of over 14,000 bestseller lists that Amazon has. It's the full list of bestseller lists on Amazon for ebooks, as well as physical books, paperbacks, and hardcovers in the United States. So it's a very complete training program. To go into all that here would be well beyond the scope of this video. But what you need to do is pick two bestseller categories in order to publish your book on Amazon. And so, let's just pretend we have a book here on family and relationships, and one it's on aging, and, Aging Without Anger or something like that. Okay, so those are the two categories we've picked right there. You'll see them down here. You can deselect them anytime you want and choose a different category. We'll go ahead and click Save. So there you'll see your categories here. And again, this is one thing that's great is you can come back anytime you want and change your categories. So if you're brand new, don't know what categories to pick, aren't really sure, don't worry about it. You can always come back and change it later. But what you want to do, just a good rule of thumb, is pick the categories that are most relevant to your book. Okay. Next, we have the age range options here. This is really not necessary unless you've written a children's book. So if you have a children's book for ages 3 to 8, then you would need to put that in here. Same thing if you have educational books for children in school, you would put that information here as well. Totally optional, and for the vast majority of authors, you would just leave that section totally blank. Don't mess with those. Okay, next we're going to choose your keywords. So here, Amazon allows you to choose up to 7 keywords for your ebooks. So keywords are basically words or phrases that people would type in Amazon.com or on their Kindle device in order to find a book like yours. So if you've written a science fiction novel, you might put science fiction novel here. You might put sci-fi novel, sci-fi, space sci-fi, etc. So you would use up to 7 keywords that you would put in there, and you want to use all 7 of these keywords. And again, the good news is you can come back anytime and change these, so don't worry too much about getting it perfect just right the first time. Okay, next, we're going to select your book release option. So there's 2 options here. You can make your book ready to release right now. So as soon as you click the publish button, your book would be then reviewed by Amazon, which usually takes anywhere from 2 hours to a week. And then as soon as it's reviewed and approved, it would be live on the Kindle store right away. The other option is to make your book available for pre-order. In order to do that, you can set a release date here at any time up to the next 90 days into the future. So for most authors, I'd recommend just releasing your book right away. But if you are planning a big launch for your book and you want to do pre-orders, that's also a very solid strategy. It takes a little bit more effort and knowledge in how to do that with your launch, but it's also a very good strategy as well. Okay, next, you're going to upload your cover for your book. Now, I always recommend working with a professional ebook cover designer. It's very important you work with a professional ebook cover designer, because ebook covers are very different from physical book covers. And the reason is because when people are looking at ebook covers on Amazon.com or on a Kindle device, they're looking at a very tiny cover, very tiny book cover on the screen, usually 90 by 90 pixels or even smaller. So it's very tiny cover, very tiny image that they're going to be looking at. And because the image is so small, they cannot see fine detail. So if you have for example, a hand-painted cover. I know some authors actually had an artist hand-paint their cover with a lot of detail. Well, that looks amazing in a physical book cover, on a paperback or hardcover book. But in a Kindle ebook, you do not see any kind of texture or detail in the background with an ebook cover because this image size is just so small. So the really most important thing about an ebook cover, you want the actual title text to be easily readable and very large, so that even at a 60 by 60 thumbnail on a Kindle device or smartphone or computer, the reader can clearly read the title of your book. And you also want clean, well-designed imagery that's simple, usually 1 image, maybe 2 images, not a lot of images cluttering up the background, so that the reader can really focus and immediately see what this cover is about and what your book is about. Now, there are guidelines for the cover images, and you can read those right here. There's a link right here that will take you to Amazon, and it'll tell you the exact guidelines you need to have, the different sizes you need to have, and so forth for your ebook covers. Okay, the next step, you're going to decide whether or not you want to use digital rights management or DRM. DRM is generally in the self-publishing community thought to be worthless. So probably 98% of self-published authors who've studied DRM realize that it's pretty much worthless, pretty much pointless, and does not help self-published authors. So basically DRM, digital rights management, is an anti-piracy, anti-hacking program that kind of protects your book file from hackers and pirates, which sounds really awesome. The problem is that in practice, DRM is incredibly easy to break. Anyone with any kind of experience can spend 5 minutes on Google, type in how to hack DRM, and figure out how to do it in just 5 minutes, right? So it really is not hard to crack DRM for someone who's very tech savvy and understands all that stuff. But for some grandmas, older people, just your regular average Amazon customers who might want to share your book with a friend or relative or family member, DRM makes it very difficult, if not impossible, to do that. And so it can be very frustrating for your customers and your fans if you enable DRM, whereas it's not really deterring pirates at all. So most authors, self-published authors now recommend don't use DRM. I would agree. I would not recommend using DRM. This is an issue that's, I guess, somewhat controversial because there are definitely people on both sides of the issue. So might want to do your own research into that. But if you're not too concerned about piracy and you're not too concerned about this issue, I would just go ahead and click Do Not Enable Digital Rights Management and then move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is we're going to choose to upload the book file. Now, this is the file that we formatted in the last video number 1 at ebookpublishingschool.com, right? So make sure your book file has been properly formatted before you upload it, okay? So if you didn't watch the first video, go back and watch that. Make sure you format your video or format your book file professionally, otherwise it's going to look really awful, right? So the biggest mistake a lot of new authors make is they upload just any random file. It's not formatted properly. It looks terrible. And then if a customer buys your book, that can leave you really bad reviews because the book just looks awful on Kindle. Here you'll see a spell check that might pop up. So basically, Kindle has its own little spell check program, and I'll say, hey, there might be some spelling errors in your book. You can click this button to view them. And here it says a spelling error is the name of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, something I can't even pronounce his name, but that's actually not misspelled. I've double checked it many times. That's how you spell the guy's first name. So I'm just going to go ahead and click ignore. If you didn't do that, you can actually have all the spell check errors emailed to you, which you can then go fix and re-upload your book. It's a pretty cool feature. But hopefully, if you've had a professional editor, you shouldn't even need that feature, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, step 7, you can actually preview your book, and I highly recommend you do it. So if you click the preview button right here, click Save Changes and Continue, you can then preview exactly what your book is going to look like on Kindle on very different devices. So up here on the top right, you'll have a button to pick different devices. So you can actually see what the book looks like on a Kindle, Paperwhite, Kindle Fire HD, the iPad, iPhone, etc. So we can look at the iPad right here, and this is what my book would look like on the iPad. And you can just scroll through and see what the book would look like. So there's the table of contents. We can check the links in the table of contents, so we can click this button right here and see if it works. Oh, hey, look, it just took me to chapter 1, so now I know my table of contents works. So that's a really cool feature. I definitely recommend previewing your book in the Kindle previewer. If you did make any mistakes in the formatting process, this is where you would notice them before your book is published, and you can go back and fix any mistakes you see in the file. Once you're done, just go ahead and click the top left button up here to go back to book details and continue publishing your book. Okay, once you've done everything that we've covered so far, scroll to the bottom of the page, hit Save and Continue. Next, we're going to come to the rights and pricing page. This is where you can actually select the price of your ebook. So there's 2 options up here, worldwide rights and individual territories. If you're the author, you're going to want to publish your book in the worldwide. If you have some kind of book deal in UK, where you have an ebook distributor in the UK or something, and you don't want to publish there, then you would have to select all here and then deselect the UK, but that's very, very rare for self-published authors. Okay, next step, you're going to set your pricing. So you have 2 options for royalties, 35% and 70%. Now, it would say, well, why would I ever choose 35% instead of 70%? Well, there's a couple differences. So 70% only works if your price is between $2.99 and $9.99. So if you want to sell your book for less than $2.99 or more than $10, you have to select the 35% royalty option. That's why most self-published authors choose to publish between $2.99 and $9.99. So once you've selected your royalty option, then you're going to put your list price in here in the different countries. So let's say we're going to be $2.99 in Amazon, and then there's all these buttons here are automatically checked to just automatically price your books based on their US price, and that can leave some weird number here like 185. That's just a weird number. I would rather have it be a round number like 189. It's not exactly a round number, but a more commonly used number for prices. Again, the UK price here is a 191. That's just a weird price. I'd rather just price it at 199. Same thing for the European countries. I'd rather just do 299. And so I would go ahead and customize all of this here. And what you're doing is you're selecting the price for each different store in these different currencies, right? So these prices here are in euros for European countries. This is GBP for pounds in the UK, INR for Indian rupees in India, JPY for Japanese yen in Japan, and so forth. Okay, so once you've finalized the pricing for your ebook, just go ahead and check. And a couple things you want to look at here is, okay, what is the royalty rate? What are your delivery costs? You want these to be as low as possible. If your delivery cost is over 15, 20 cents per book, it's probably because you either have a ton of images in your book or you just made some errors in your formatting and have a much larger file size than you really need. So just checking your delivery costs. You want them to be as low as possible. If you have lots and lots of images in your ebook file, then you'd want to compress those images as much as possible to reduce the file size and therefore reduce your delivery costs. And on the right here, you'll see your estimated royalty rate that you would receive every time you sell a book. Okay, finally, you're going to come here in the Kindle Matchbook program. You can choose to enroll in this program. Now, what Kindle Matchbook does is if a customer buys a physical copy of your book, they can then get a discounted copy of your ebook. So this only matters if you have a physical copy of your book published through CreateSpace or something like that and available on Amazon. So generally, if you have a physical copy of your book, I would recommend enrolling in it and then choosing a paid price here. Okay, and then the very final step is just click this little checkbox marks right here to make sure you agree to the terms and conditions. Of course, you should read the terms and conditions. It's a lot of legal jargon and whatever, but you should be informed about what you're doing in the contract that you're engaging in with Amazon. Once you're done with all that, just click Save and Publish. And if you've not elected to do pre-order, if you've elected to publish your book right away, it'll usually take Amazon anywhere from 2 hours to a full week to review your book and either approve it or get back to you with any errors or things that needs to be changed before they will approve your book and let it go live in the Kindle store. Make sure your email address associated with your account is a real email address so you can receive any email updates about when your book goes live and any errors or problems there might be with your book on Amazon. In the next video, I'm going to share with you the 6 key foundations for marketing success. These are the fundamental principles you have to understand in order to build a sustainable, long-term author brand and platform that can help you continue to grow your sales year after year after year without being salesy or pushy or making all your friends and family hate you because you're just constantly talking about your books with them, right? I'm going to actually show you how to build a loyal following of raving fan readers and customers all over the world, people who are attracted to you by the message and by the story you have to share with the world. And you don't have to leave your house to do it. So if you're not a big networker or public speaker, that's okay. There's lots and lots of different strategies today for success. Which strategies you use is not really all that important. I know authors who earn 6- and 7-figure incomes from only public speaking, or from only blogging, or from only social media, or from only email marketing, or from only radio interviews, or from only TV interviews, right? I mean, a lot of different authors have different strengths and different weaknesses. So what I want you to do when it comes to marketing is focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. But in order to do that, in order to find the strategies that work and make them work for your business, you have to understand the 6 key foundations for marketing success. So that's what we're going to cover in this next video. I hope you loved this video. Please post your comments and questions below. Remember, I'll be giving away a free copy of my book, Secrets of the 6-Figure Author, every month to the person who leaves the most inspiring comment about what your mission is, what your purpose is, and why you want to become a best-selling author. So make sure you post your comments below for your chance to win. And finally, I want to ask you for one more favor. Share this message with every author and writer and would-be author that you know. Too many authors today are struggling thinking it's too difficult, it's too complicated, it's too expensive to get their book published. It's not. It's way easier today than it's ever been before in the history of the world. But most authors just don't know how to do it. They don't understand the technology. They don't understand the process you have to go through. And I'm going to teach that to you all for free here in this course. So please share this course. Please share Ebook Publishing School with every author you know, every writer you know, anyone you think might benefit from this information, because it could change their life forever. It's the gift that keeps on giving, because authors make the world a better place. What if you share this with a friend and they go on to publish their book and their book helps the lives of thousands or millions of people all over the world? How would that make you feel? That's one of the reasons I love doing the work that I do, because authors have such a huge impact on the world. Information that we share, the stories that we share, shapes not only our lives, but the culture, our societies, shape the world that we live in. We can make the world a better place. And so I want to thank you for making the world a better place and being a part of this journey here with us at Ebook Publishing School. I'll see you in the next video.